Welcome back, Hack Stab Slash. In today's lesson of all things horror, we are going back to 2015 for a wonderful film called It Follows. This movie is all about the STDs, not those STDs. We are in health class right now, but not that kind of health class. This is a mental health class where we talk about sexually transmitted demons. Take it away, Justin.
Ooh. Oh, I like that. I never have any clue where you're going with that, but
STD demons.
I was like, well, I can't do the Macho Man because it's been a little much. And then I was like, I'll try something different. We'll see how it goes.
But what is up, everyone? I am so excited to get into this movie. I picked this movie because I absolutely love It Follows. When I first saw this movie, it just sucked me into its whole atmosphere, I guess, do you want to say. So really
You
want
don't want to say that.
I don't want to say it sucked
I
me
just
into
dropped the
that.
STDs and you said it sucked me right into the
Sucked
we
me
edited
right,
it, so it
right
says
into
suck
the
me
ether.
into the ass.
But I feel like, first of all, like
Lots
I feel
of
like
suck.
I feel like you guys have issues with your perverted brains. Like I think this is more of a you issue than me. Clearly, I say the wrong thing like 100 times in the podcast, but I think it's because your brains, you're looking for the wrong thing. Like I think you guys need help.
You just picked a movie that has had more sex and more titties than any movie we've seen in the last 5 tries.
Literally.
Like we're gonna be careful how you talk about sex on YouTube. It doesn't like that. This episode is gonna get 7 views.
I didn't say sex. I said sex.
Oh my dear God. All right, Waterboy, what's up? All right, yeah, no. All right, let's just dial it back. We gotta be careful what we talk about. We want to remember.
This is true, and this is actually a very crucial, like crazy topic because what goes on in this movie, and viewers beware. If you're not into this type of like topic, if you've already know what this movie's going on.
Let's be 100% honest. Like, yes, there is consent, but this movie has a rape scene.
Yeah. Yep.
Is Justin frozen again?
No. He's just stuck in the moment.
Just dear God.
We'll talk about it when it gets there.
Yeah. All right. So should we just jump right into this? Get into the opening scene.
Let's jump right into it, Johnny. Come on down.
Johnny Carson.
Dude, right away, I love the opening scene. Like, it doesn't even like show you like it falls on the screen or anything. You just get right into it. You just see this girl like running outside into the street. And tell me already, like, just like the atmosphere, it already looks like Haddonfield. Tell me that did not look like Haddonfield, like with the sidewalks and everything. And this girl's freaking out, and you can tell something's wrong because she's pretty much like not.
Because she's running in high heels.
She's running. That's the thing. She's got high heels on, and she's just running. And someone asks, like, "Oh my God, like, are you okay?" And she's like, "Yeah." Do you need help? And she's like, "No." And then her dad looks out and is like, "What are you doing?" And she runs into a house, freaked out, runs out 10 seconds later, and she's in a car and she just floors it and drives away. Phone's ringing the whole entire time. Eventually, you see her on a beach and it's nighttime and the car lights are on her and she's like talking to her dad. And then it just cuts right to the morning and she is dead. And
break a leg.
Her leg is snapped off. Her face is pale. Like, what an opening scene. That's
a gruesome scene.
Yeah, what do you guys
do? You guys want to hear my notes on this opening scene real fast?
Yeah, I love it.
This is exactly what I've got written down. If you're going to run away from something, take the fucking high heels off. You run inside, you get your pocketbook, your phone, your keys, but you can't grab sneakers or pants, maybe even a hoodie. It's a little chilly outside. And then I put, those heels are the real MVP. Motherfucker chased her on a beach in sand, snapped her leg in half, and she still had the heel on.
She had the heels on. She was still, she literally ran to the beach with the high heels on.
Perfect fit shoes.
So good.
I also gotta say, like, even with the opening of this, I just love the music. It's just
right away.
Perfect. It just takes you right in.
Takes you into it. And love it so much. And right after that, so you got a really cool death scene, and you're just kind of like wondering what's going on. And then right away, then cuts to Jay the next morning, and we meet 19-year-old Jay. She's in a pool, just swimming around. She goes inside. We meet Paul, Kelly, and Yara.
You skipped right over us meeting the creepy ass fucking 8-year-old neighbors.
Yeah, what's up with these 8-year-olds? I'll say she's in a pool, and you got these neighbors already just staring at her, and that's
little
kind of a
pervert
theme.
kids.
Say it happens a lot. They're looking through the fence,
the windows, the fence.
Was that like the Home Improvement guy just peering over the fence there?
Oh my God, what was that guy's name?
I'm drawing a blank.
I was gonna say Wilson, right? Was it Wilson?
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, anyway, Wilson. But yeah, and then we meet her friend Paul. We meet some sisters here. We meet Kelly. We meet Yara. Yara is on the couch just reading her weird little clamshell handheld device.
Can't say clam.
But anyway, so you get a quick introduction, and then all of a sudden we go right to a date night, and we see Jay is on a date. She's talking to a guy. They're playing a trade game of where you what person you want to trade to. We cut to a movie theater, and uh his name's what, you, he's trying to guess, oh, who'd you pick? And he's like, oh, I think you picked that girl in the yellow dress over there. And she turns around and she's like, what are you talking about? And he goes, the girl in the yellow dress, like you picked her. She goes, are you playing a joke on me? Like, there's no one there. And he looks out, he absolutely freaks out, and he leaves. You see them running across, like running out of there, freaking out. You see them in a diner, and even when they're in the diner, someone's walking. You see someone kind of slowly walking towards them, but she's trying to figure out, like, why is this guy absolutely freaking out and acting so weird. And then the next scene, anything you guys want to say about that?
The vibes in this movie, like you said, they're fucking unreal, dude. I got
Dude,
some quick little notes on it.
Yeah,
The vibe feels like it's the 70s, but the atmosphere screams it's the 90s. Like the way
dude,
that they're watching TV and the friends are all just hanging out on the couch, but there's Bluetooth. Like when that girl takes off, she's got like a 2012 Nissan Sentra. And and then you see the girl upstairs, like she's got an analog TV with bunny ears, but she's got Polaroid pictures stuck to the wall. And then, like, even when they're waiting in line for the movie theater, I'm pretty sure someone has a touchscreen, like, iPhone in their hand that they're fucking around with while they're waiting in line. But then you get the blue cups, the white cups with like the blue swoosh from the 90s that used to get off like the
Mm-hmm.
ice cream truck. And then you're sitting in a movie theater, like, what time are we in? Where the fuck
That,
are we, dude?
and
I've
that's what
never
the
been
direct.
to a
That's
movie theater that's
it's
had an organ player before the movie starts.
yeah,
it's chaos. Like, you have
that.
no clue what's going on, and none of the main characters have cell phones. But the girl in like the first screen,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like her name was Annie, and she had the phone. Like the phone was ringing the whole entire time. But
So I'll
none of
burn a quick
these.
little fact. So
Yeah,
this movie was like the director based it off of like a dream. So we're like sort of like in a dream world. He wanted to make it seem like, so that's why we're
yeah.
going through different timelines and all that stuff. Where like there's like newer cars in the first scene, and she's got a regular cell phone, and then we go back to this, and
Yeah,
then there
they're
are old
driving an
cars,
80s
and
station wagon. He's got a
right.
yeah,
late 70s, four-door fucking Cutlass.
Crazy.
it's
Yara's
they
got
did
some
Dude,
weird
awesome.
clamshell thing that she's reading off that I don't even know what that is.
I actually vaguely remember that clamshell thing from when we were kids. I'm pretty sure it was like remember those like PDA things you could have
Yeah.
where you
Yeah,
could
Yep.
like write down notes and shit, but it was a little handheld device. I'm pretty sure that clamshell
Yeah.
was something like that, like an Amazon Kindle type thing.
Yeah. It was definitely based off something like that. But
Yeah.
and like you said, the music and the atmosphere, like after that scene, like when she freaks out, you
it's
see
it's
Kelly
just
walking
so
home.
creepy.
Yeah,
Like
pretty sure it's just Kelly and her walking, and they're just talking. And never mind, it's still like it feels like Haddonfield. It's like the coolest thing, and the music, just even I don't know, the whole music, it sucks you into this atmosphere
Do
so
you know what else is
incredibly.
creepy and so sick about this podcast right now?
What,
The green screen is reading your sunglasses.
I know
dude?
It,
that's I saw.
how awesome is that, dude?
Dude,
Did you
and,
just see
yeah,
her face through the
in my
glasses?
glasses. I'm not even gonna lie. The only reason I'm even usually I wear the Macho Man glasses just to be funny, but today I
Yeah.
just feel like crap and my I look so tired, so I'm literally just wearing sunglasses to hide of how absolutely tired I am. But that does look so incredible.
Dude, that's so sick. Like we were talking, like you guys just dropped, like this is a dreamscape. Like this
Yeah,
whole realm is like a dream, and you're the narrator right now, and it's like we're looking you in the eyes into the dream world. How sick is that?
Oh,
that
dude,
actually. Oh my god,
that's
that
actually
actually
pretty
is
cool
so
now they put it
incredible.
like that.
Yeah, right. Oh, dude. All right.
Oh, so anyway, all right. So after that, so we cut right to the at night. There is another date night going on with her and you, and we see shots of them making out on the beach, and then we see the car scene, which I think might be behind Sean. I can't really tell if that's he just.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay, there we go. So we get that infamous date sex scene going on in the car, and everything looks like it's going really good. She looks like they're looking like they're having a good time. And she's kind of just leaning on the car, and you see him getting something in the trunk, and he goes to like lean on top of her. And you're like, oh, some nice cuddles and everything. This is going good. Then he straight up drugs her. What's that, chloroform or something? What do
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
Chloroform, sir.
chloroform.
chloroforms her, and she's struggling, so she completely gets out of it. And so creepy. She wakes up and she's in a wheelchair, like bound in a wheelchair, still like in her underwear, and She has absolutely no clue what's going on. Meanwhile, this guy's in the background. It's so dark, and he's got a flashlight. He's freaking out, like looking around for something. And you basically just hear him just saying, like, "Look, I'm not gonna hurt you. Like I'm doing this, so you have to believe me. Like someone gave it to me, and I just gave it to you. It could look like anyone." And he's looking around. He's like telling her, "Never go into a place with only one exit. Like it's slow, but it's not stupid. You can sleep with anyone. Sleep with anyone real fast, and just give it to someone." Because if it gets you, it'll come back and get me. And then he's, wait, there it is. I see it. And he grabs her and he is just running her through with that wheelchair. And he looks and you see this naked woman just slowly walking like past train tracks, like coming towards them. And he's like, see, I'm showing you so you believe. And then it turns around, the thing's in there with her and he's pushing her so she can see it. And then they book it out of there, throws her in the car, and they fly home. And you see a screen at the house where the sister and friends are playing Old Maid, and you basically jumps out, just drops her off in her underwear, and flies away. What do you guys think about that? Anything you guys want to add to this?
Yeah,
It
that
went
was
away.
that was a crazy scene. Like to bring back to that little rape thing. I mean, the sex was consensual with this, but
Yeah, everything was going
having
good.
having
Yeah.
having done that and everything like that, it just takes it's
And like you
scary.
said, when the consent turns to rape is when, like, I call this a sexually transmitted demon.
Yeah,
It turns to rape when you don't share that information with a willing partner, and
yep,
it's probably unprotected. Maybe it's protected. Either way, you should share that information because you're
hundred
putting someone
percent.
else's health at risk.
Yeah,
But at
Yeah,
this
right.
point,
Like, hey, maybe I have
yeah,
a demon
yeah,
attached to me.
yeah.
yeah. Did
You
you
never
guys
know, dude.
feel like she was a virgin? Like
I
I
I
felt
I
like she
got
was
that
a
scent.
virgin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because like
because
even then in the
yeah,
later scene when she's like checking herself a little, I don't know.
Yeah,
yeah. At my notes for this scene, I was like, at least she consented? Question mark. Nothing like losing your virginity and then getting chloroformed while spilling your guts to the guy you just
right,
slept with. And then I was like, oh, at least he got dressed before telling her everything. I mean, the
right.
least he could have done was, put some clothes on her. I don't know, get her
Maybe
dressed
put
before
clothes on her.
knocking
Shit,
her out.
God.
Yeah, let her get dressed before you knock
It's
her
like
out.
it's like
Yeah,
it was like somewhat like he cared because he was letting her know of the demon in the
right.
first place, but then it's
Yeah, he
like,
was
nah, I
like,
don't really care enough about that though.
and then I'm just gonna throw her off and dump her in the street with like no clothes on, like maybe
Oh
throw
my
some clothes
god.
on her. And
Like, what the
I
fuck?
felt like she was a virgin too. But later on, she did say that
Yeah,
she slept with that other guy. Yeah, so
yeah.
she wasn't. But no, I
And
felt
then,
like that too.
did you guys notice something about the demon?
She had a landing strip.
No, no, dude. I was like, at least this sexually transmitted demon chose a naked woman instead of just, a big dick swinging guy.
Can you
Oh my dear
imagine?
God.
Just like Shaquille O'Neal over there.
Yeah.
All right.
Justin. All right, Justin, please continue.
Well,
You,
thank you.
you may proceed.
So, like I said, anyway, you see that she gets dropped off in her underwear, freaking out. You see the cops are there, and you see it from the point of view of a neighbor is watching and just being like, "Oh my God, that family is a mess." Then you see her basically in a hospital bed, and then you cut it to a scene. You see the cops like finding her purse, and you see like they found like the wheelchair. So realizing like this definitely really happened. Like her story, she's not lying. This is all real. And then we have a shot of her mother talking to someone, and it's really weird. You don't even see like the mother's face. It's like really even weird. Like you don't see the parent's face, but she's talking about like, oh yeah, I can't believe this like happened to her. Apparently, it was a fake name, and the house wasn't even like a fake
Yeah,
house
he
and
rented
everything.
it in cash, like
Yeah,
all that.
so
Yeah.
exactly. So pretty much they have nothing really to go on. So that's a little intense there. So
It's a little bit crazy too in this movie with the parents. Like, you barely ever see parents.
this is the
Yeah, I
no
feel
parents.
like I watched this like two times, and for some reason I can only remember seeing pictures, like
Yeah.
family pictures,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
And
that's
in
it.
this scene, like you see the mom for like it's like a 1 minute scene of the mom just like talking to somebody, but you don't even see her face. Like it's like weird. You see like the background of her, and like there's a scene earlier she was in the background real quick, but you never really. I don't know. This movie shot like so weird and eerie
I think the
feel.
mom might be an alcoholic too, because she's like
Yeah,
drinking pretty early in the morning.
yeah,
And you hear the person say like, "Oh, that family's a mess." So it's definitely insinuated that like
yeah.
obviously there's no dad in the picture. Something happened to dad. You see dad's
Dad looks
pictures.
ancient in that picture though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so something's crazy going on. But anyway,
Not for
so
nothing.
then
Like
oh,
you guys brought up the dream aspect of it. I didn't know that, but just talking about this, that dream aspect makes sense because how often have you guys had vivid dreams, woken up, known someone was in the dream with you, but you can't place their face to it?
good. To
Dude.
burn another, yeah. So that's another thing. Like he 100%, this was based off a dream, and you wanted to make the movie feel like a dream. Like I don't know if everyone knew that, but even like Waterboy said, how you don't know what time. He wanted to, so you didn't even know what the weather was. He said he wanted to tell, like you couldn't even tell what season it was. He says half the
I
time you
have,
wanted to
yeah.
look like fall, half the time you wanted to look like summer,
Dude,
half the
yeah.
time they wear no clothes at night.
And then
And
other
no one
times they're
ever
wearing
looks
like
like,
Yeah,
jackets
yeah.
and shit.
yeah, and no one, and you never can tell they're uncomfortable. So he didn't even want you to be able to place what time frame this is or what even season this movie
So
is.
the
He
weather
wanted you
was
to
like
feel unsettled.
Massachusetts.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
I have so much of that written down in the notes. It's unreal, and it's so uncanny how well this is executed.
Right.
I'm actually
Um,
changing my score as we're talking about this, just so you know.
It's
I did that too. Last time in Waterboys episode, every single
before
time we
before we
talked, I knocked down points.
before we even like did this, like me and Justin have even talked about this movie several times before. This is like one of our favorites.
We've had a lot of, yeah, me and Waterboy on the same page. We've had a lot of early morning discussion about this, get really amped up. But anyway, so after that, you find the fakes. You see her in the bedroom. You in the bathroom, sorry, and you see a quick jump scare. You see her like kind of like looking at herself, checking out, and something smashes the wall, and she kind of freaks out and looks, and you see a ball, and you see that damn little kid again that Sean talked about earlier, just like hiding
Damn perverts.
outside of her window. And then we get a cool scene. We go the next day. She is in class, and we see her in the classroom, and she is just like spaced out. She is staring out the window, very reminiscent of another movie. And as she's looking out the window, you see someone slowly walking towards her. It looks like an old woman just kind of slowly walking towards her, and she kind of looks back again, and this thing is still walking towards her. So she is realizing, oh shit, like something's happening. And she runs out of class, and it's even creepy in the hallway. You see this thing walking towards her, and she yells like hello. And there's two girls like walking like that are like talking to each other down there, and they like don't see anything else. They kind of just like turn and look to her. So she drives away. She drives over to an ice cream place where we see Kelly and Paul working. And she's basically telling her, she's like, I freaked out. I saw this person walking. They're like, did it talk to you? She's like, no. And they're like, okay, well, we're going to have a sleepover. Paul's like, I'm going to sleep over tonight. Nothing's going to happen to you. So we cut to later that night. Shit starts going down. We have a sleepover. The four friends are all there. And we get some really cool scenes. Jay can't sleep. So she goes downstairs on the couch, and you get a really cool bonding scene between Jay and Paul. They're just talking about how they haven't hung out a lot lately, and he's so excited to be back over there. And in the middle of all this nice bonding, you hear a smash, and a window is broken. And Paul's like, "Oh crap! Like I'm gonna go wake up the sisters." So Paul runs upstairs to go get them. And Jay, sorry, I just got way ahead of myself. I got excited again because the music in this, when Jay is even just walking to go look, it's so unsettling because this movie, it's not like a fast-paced movie, but it's like you feel like the suspense because the suspense now when Jay's like walking down there, and all of a sudden you see this woman demon like with a boob exposed, and she is peeing herself, in her underwear,
The
in
Exorcist.
in the kitchen. Like it's disgusting, and the panic and stuff of Jay. She runs upstairs. The music is going nuts. She runs in there, and she's got Kelly and Paul in the house, in the door, in a room up there, freaking out, like, "Oh my god, what's going on? What's going on?" All of a sudden, another knock on the door, and they're like, "Hello, who is it?" She's like, "Don't open it." And it's just Yara, and Yara's
Oh
like,
shit,
"Well,
my
what's
pants
going
when I
on?"
first saw this.
Dude, the first time I
Yeah.
saw the scene, like as Yara walks in, this giant guy who looks like he's like 10 foot tall, so fast, walks in behind her. Jay
Perfectly
freak
executed.
like perfectly in the music when this happens, and Jay freaks out. She opens the sliders, runs outside, like jumps outside, just
Dude,
grabs a bike and takes it
I
down.
would I would have yeeted out that window just like in your next.
Right? I was just gonna say, what do you guys? Oh, how do
I
you
would
guys
have
feel
pieced
about
out
that?
like a cat.
Right?
All right. So on that set of scenes you covered, I go, unlike the
Yeah.
girl in the opening scenes, at least the old person chasing her through the hallways is wearing sneakers.
I love that you had to check out their foot apparel. Love it.
Yeah.
Wonder how
I put
fast they can
down,
run in those.
yeah, dude. I put down the kitchen scene gave me chills. Clearly, this entity is portraying like a battered woman, but the pissing of her pants while she's
Oh,
approaching was a whole nother level of disturbing. And to
Yeah.
follow it up with the tall man behind Yara, I go, in my opinion, he was moving way too fast for someone with no eyes.
he's
you
all
had
crooked
you
and
had
bent, like
no idea.
Yeah.
oh,
but
insert from.
oh, dude, perfectly executed. The way that it came right out of the shadows.
Oh yeah.
And the second she was like, "Oh, it's just me," and then proceeded to enter the room.
Oh my
that
God, dude.
half a second, I'm pretty sure everyone in that room let their guard down, and then immediately tensions are through the roof again.
Oh yeah, and Jay just books it. She doesn't even explain anything. She is absolutely gone. Just you see her riding down the street, and just even the settings. She goes just down to like a swing set, and she runs past. You see, one of the neighbors, Greg's like in the car with like a girl, and they kind of look like, what the hell? And Jay is just running down there. She's on a swing, and then eventually, all of a sudden, you see like her friends catch up with her, and like, what is going on? She's explaining everything. Then all of a sudden, we see they say, "Oh, do you see that? Do you see that?" She looks like sees someone walking. They're like, yeah, it's just a person. Like it's okay. And Greg gets down there, and he basically is like, "What happened? Like, what did that guy do to you? Like, is everything okay?" And she's like, "We need to find him. We need to find him." And this guy's like, "Okay, I'll be right back." And he goes and he gets his car.
She was
So
offended. She was like, "You're leaving?"
yeah, leaving. He's like, "No, I'm going to get my car." So right away,
Oh,
this
okay.
guy Greg is down to help them. So now we see Greg driving them to go try to find out information of her boyfriend Yu's house. So at least what she thought was her house. And he drives them all there. And even just the feeling of this, you see this like abandoned. The place is in Detroit, so it is like an abandoned, creepy looking rundown house. This house is boarded up. You see them inside looking. There's a bunch of pills. The windows have like newspapers all blocking out with little peepholes so you can just see out there.
Was it Yara that brings up the fact that uh you go from like the suburbs to like the suburbs that's like really trashy?
Yeah.
And she used to have to like ask her parents for permission to like go to the city fair or the state fair because it was right across the line.
Yeah, right across
It
the
looked
line.
like they were going to what was it, 8 Mile?
I was gonna say, did they say 8 Mile or something like that? Yeah. Yeah, so it is you tell us like a rough neighborhood, and you see Paul finds a bunch of playboys. I think they were called playpens, and
There were so many tissues.
Just
there was
so many, dude.
Ah,
He was trying to see if he can, get rid of
I
it
wasn't
by
even
putting
gonna bring
out
that
a
up.
certain
Damn it,
number
you
of
guys
loads, dude.
can't get
No,
dear
dude,
God.
he's not using the tissues like that, Waterboy. He's crying after the fact. That's to clean up the tears.
Can't get anything past you. I wasn't even gonna mention that. I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna move right
It's
past this,
so
move along
prominent
past.
because it's not like it was next to the mattresses. Bro
And,
sat down on the mattress
and then he starts looking
clean
through
the
it.
tissues off the magazines to then look at the magazines.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't personally. You should probably not have touched that. That was
Yeah, that
very
was
questionable
definitely
behavior by
unsanitary.
Paul. That was very
Scene gave
disgusting
me
because
fucking heartburn.
that.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? Yeah, nothing. That it was absolutely disgusting. But when he was, thank God he did it, I guess, because he did flip through and he found a very important picture of you with a girl, and they're kind of looking and it's in a high school, and they see like what high school they're wearing, and like, oh, do you know this? And she's like, yeah, I know that school, and so they get the hell out of there. Next scene, you see them at that school trying to find information about him, and they find his school, and they find his name is Jeff. So they find the information of Jeff, and they go to his house. They ring the doorbell, ask the mom if Jeff's here. Jeff comes out there. They're all sitting in the field. Sean, you're already laughing. Everything good?
Oh
My
my
name's
god,
Jeff.
this scene, this set of scenes, you piss me off so much, and it speaks to the volume at like how much police don't take sexual like crime seriously.
Oh yeah.
So the police can't find this guy Jeff or
Right?
you or whatever the fuck his name is, but a group of 4 kids frightened to death can go to a house, see
Go to
one
the house
picture, and know where that letter is from.
Yeah.
And then
Right.
go to that
Fucked
high
up.
school and
High
ask
school and
one question
get
and
the
get
info.
his name and home address. Like,
Right there.
Yeah, the
Nothing.
cops
Great
didn't even
detective
like
work.
They just give it to him right there.
the cops like literally didn't even like go in the house to do anything
Yeah.
with any of the
They're
information.
like, oh, here's a wheelchair, a fucking her purse is in the middle of it. Clearly there was an assault here.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
They found the real like they.
the house was rented in cash, so that's where we stopped.
Yeah,
we
we're
didn't even go
stopped.
into
We're
the
not
house and
gonna.
see the
They're like,
prescription bottles and
yeah,
nothing.
they're like, screw that.
They're pretty busy pulling our people with inspection stickers. So
Yeah, you
right.
joked, dude, but mine's a year past due. Keep going.
Oh shit.
Same. Mine too. But anyway, so we have them all sitting outside in a field, and they're probably just explaining it a little more. Now that we know this guy's name is Jeff, he's basically saying like, "Oh my god, like I still can see it, even though it's going for you." Like he's like, "You could seriously go with anyone. Hurry up and like sleep with someone." And he also says like, "I'm so sorry, but like I got it from a one night stand," and it is kind of, and like you could tell Greg's like, dude, like I don't believe you. Like he's like, what the shit is even going on here? Like this guy's an idiot. And it's pretty funny. There's like a girl like walking, and he's like, freak out, you guys see that? And they're like, yeah, it's a girl. All right,
Schizophrenic.
cool. Yeah, he's like, this dude. So you can tell this dude is freaking out. He's still seeing something, but he's basically telling her, like, hurry up. Just like, what are you doing? Like, I'm sorry, but just go sleep with someone. Like, holy crap. And tells them a little more backstory of this
You're
from
a
his
woman.
point of
It
view.
should be easy.
Right. And just yells at her. So
God.
basically, they're like, or basically tells it like just go, like this thing's always coming, like get some distance between you and this thing. So we basically see Greg say, all right, well, I got a beach house, like I'll take you guys there, we'll buy some time, it's a little bit of ways. So we see Greg driving them all out there. We see Greg go into the garage out there. We see he has a gun. He's showing Jay how to shoot the gun, so we get some she's shooting a little bit, and then we get them just all chilling on a beach. And this is where shit gets a little even crazier because they're just literally Yara's out there on a float. The rest of them just sitting on beach chairs. And I 100%, before I saw Yara on the float, you see someone walking behind Jay. And
Yeah.
I thought it was just her. I was like, oh, that's weird. It
Yeah.
looks just like Yara. So, like, there's no big deal. And they're like, oh, yeah, let's go do something. And they're like, oh, yeah, we'll do it in a second. And all of a sudden, you see this thing walking towards it. And all of a sudden, you see her hair go flying up. Like this thing has grabbed her hair, and you see it from a different person's point of view, so you tell that it's real. Like her hair is straight up, freaking out, like wrestling it with her, and she's screaming. And Paul literally grabs like a beach chair and like WWE style, like smashes it over like
Smash.
a
Watch out,
ghost.
watch out, watch out.
Yeah, and never mind. And he gets punted. This dude just gets shot like across the place. This thing like just kicks him, and they are just sprinting. They are running away. They run over to was it like a garage thing or something there in there?
Yeah,
It was like
a
a
little
boathouse.
yeah,
Yeah.
boathouse.
Oh yeah, boathouse. Yeah. So they run in the boathouse, and Jay grabs the gun, and she is just launching bullets at this thing. She is just shooting. They
He's
probably
hiding behind a beach chair.
yeah,
It's not gonna stop a bullet.
right. Like they're shooting.
They
Never
barely
mind.
hold my fat ass.
Greg, while this was happening, I think Greg was like taking a piss. So he's like running back as the bullets are like flying past him. He's like, "Stop shooting for the love of God!" And she actually does hit this thing on the head, and it falls, and it gets
That's
right
amazing.
back.
It stops it for just
It
a little
stops
bit.
it for like a half a second. This thing
Yeah.
falls, and they close the door, and they're freaking out right now. And all of a sudden, like Greg's running, he's like, "There's nothing out here. There's nothing out here." And then he turns his back for a second, and the door like blows open, and they look, and this one actually scared me the first time I saw it too, because this was like it's all of a sudden it's like a little kid,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
this kid like
And he actually
the
makes a
fuck?
noise at him, right?
Yeah.
yeah, this thing's like this thing straight up hisses at them, and so they are freaking out. They're running out. They run out to the side, and then when they run out to the side, you see the demon again, and now it's like a girl. It's
Yeah, it
all of a
keeps
sudden.
changing forms.
I was gonna say now this thing is first it looked like Yara, then it's like a kid hissing at them, then it's a girl just walking towards her, and she is running. All everyone's chasing Jay again. She is absolutely like losing her mind, freaking out. She runs into Greg's car and grabs his car and just steals it and just leaves. And she is just bombing down the street till she crashes into a cornfield.
Justin,
Welcome back.
What's up?
well, welcome back. Me and Waterboy were just vaguely discussing a theory that we have.
Okay.
Do you want to go first, Waterboy, or you want me to go first?
Like
I'll go first. No, it's not.
All right. Yeah, go ahead.
So like how the creatures are like designed for like the person. Like I was just thinking about like how it's like maybe trauma that's happened in her life. Like maybe her dad is the tall guy. The girl that she sees in the beginning is like her mom being an alcoholic. The little kid is maybe those boys who were like being perverts, like stuff like that. I don't even know, but that's just one little theory I had.
Yeah. There's so many theories about this.
I was just thinking my theory, the more and more we break it down, it's starting to pop into my head is why I wanted to talk about it. The opening scene, she just has sex, so she feels like vulnerable. She feels naked. She feels exposed. That's the first monster is fully naked. The next monster we see where she's confused, she feels battered, she feels betrayed. We get that monster with like it's pissing its pants. The old guy, I don't know. Maybe it's just a state of confusion. Um, and then like we see the little kids, the first little kid that breaks through that door is maybe, someone that's helpless, scared, like vulnerable, like just wants to run away. And then when the girl comes out of the boathouse chasing her, maybe that's someone that's just petrified and wants to find safe, like comfort, like I don't know. You could
Dude,
probably break it down a
Well,
lot
well,
better
the
than I
tall
am
guy
right
is
now,
blind,
but
so maybe it's like not being able to
no, I
see
get.
something,
yeah,
or
And dude, this movie, like people like get deep into movies and stuff. That is different discussions and like theories and stuff. The movie goes deep because they're like on
yeah.
the surface, everyone's like, oh, it's just about like STDs. It's just like a sex, but there's so much more going on in this
This
movie.
movie
And
got
I'm one
so
of
many
those
theories.
people.
It's
I'm
crazy.
a
yeah,
1000% honest right now. I was one of those people, and now that we're sitting here and breaking it down more and more and more, I want to go back and watch it and try to,
dude,
Pick little
formulate some
things. Yeah.
kind of yeah,
yeah. Because honestly, the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, it's just like a sex thing. And then I watched it like the second time, and I actually read the script as I did it because I was into screenwriting. And dude, like the inevitability of like death and like decay as you get older, like it plays such a part of this. Is basically is so much of it is like literally about just inevitable like death. And
yeah,
there's some really even in the next all right, so even in the hospital scene, so ready, so she just crashes into a cornfield, and then we have them in a hospital, and you see even Jay's in the bed, and she's freaked out. The camera work in this, it even shows like I'd have to go back and watch it, but they show like almost like I can't even explain it right. They show like a baby, and then they cut to the scene. They show a chronological order of like old person all the way till her having sex. Like they show like a whole entire thing of that basically like portrayed like how death and different like I don't know. It's
yeah,
really crazy. I guess I
And
just
like
explained that terrible.
it feels like they're almost like the movie's showing like the different stages of trauma or depression and going through, and then eventually beating that and being able to live with it after that.
Even when they played Old Maid, there was a whole meaning. If you looked on how the cards were and how the Old Maid was in the middle, there was even a lot of imagery even in that. There's so much stuff hidden in this that's so much deeper about just
Uh,
that. But I guess it
Director.
is really important to talk about in the hospital scene. You do see her freaking out, and then you basically see Greg getting in the hospital bed with her, and they have sex. And basically, you cut them again later, and you say like, "Oh, like you seen anything?" And he's like, "No, it's been like 3 days, and he still hasn't seen anything." And then we get a cut a couple days later. They're back home, and Greg comes over to see if he could see them, and she's like, "No, she's upstairs. She's not doing good." He's like, "I kind of thought she'd be doing better. This is really weird." They're like, "Have you seen anything?" And he's like, "No." And they're like, "It's real, like all that stuff really happened. Like that's." He's like, "Yeah, I don't know, man." He's like, "It's just not what she thinks." Like, so you can kind of tell, like, he does know something obviously happened, but he's not really fully on board with her whole entire theory of what's going on. And he seems to be fine. That night, we cut to Jay outside her window, and she was just staring, freaking out, like looking outside. And then we actually see what we think looks like Greg, and he's just walking down the street. She kind of bangs on the window, and he's kind of weird. He doesn't notice. And you see him kind of open the door, and he's kind of looking like a zombie, and he can't get in. And all of a sudden, you see him grab a rock and throw it through the window. And she's like, "Holy shit!" So she runs over there because she realizes, "Holy crap, that's exactly what's going on." Because you see Greg, what we think is Greg is clearly the demon now, like climb through the window. She gets in there and she runs in there, and it's so creepy. She gets to the hallway where you see it's like a naked woman, and like kind of like look at her real fast and just go back, and it's like knocking and knocking and knocking, and you hear the door open, and you just hear him say, "What the fuck, mom?" And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, just she runs in there, and this thing is like on top of him, and like almost like riding him. And right away, you see his like face is like all over pale, and he is dead. And Jay panics, and she just runs the hell out of there.
That
And
it's
she just,
dude. That's another thing. Like with even like him seeing his mom as the monster. Like
dude,
that.
right?
that's what I
Like,
was just gonna say. This is why I'm starting to develop this theory, is because who's Jay most concerned about leading up to this? It's Greg. Who does she
yeah,
see? Greg. When that demon gets into the house, who's the one person right now that Greg trusts the most, loves, and expects to protect him? His mom.
right. And he sees it, and it's all of a sudden his mom. And then just for that friggin' to happen to
Oh,
him is just so messed up. And then you just see basically like Jay is getting the hell out of there. She just drives far away. You see her basically just pull over eventually when she thinks there's enough space behind it so it can't catch her too much, so she gets some sleep. You see her just she kind of wakes up on like the hood of her car, And then this next scene is really weird. Like there's like a beach, and you see her like walking out on the beach, and there's like three fishermen on like a boat out there. You see her taking her clothes off and like in a bathing suit, and she swims out there. And what the fuck? I don't know. You see her the next time, like you see her driving, and she's soaked, and her cast is soaked.
Yeah,
So I mean,
she was gonna try to pass it to
yeah,
those
I,
three
I
college dudes.
legit have the notes of this scene. I go, I'm not sure I'd make an 18, 19-year-old that looks disheveled with a broken arm who swims out to my boat all by herself. I mean, I'm horny, but that just screams, help me.
Yeah.
dude, this no, I don't even understand the scene. I don't even get it. Like why this even in like
Yeah,
the
that was
first
a
time
weird
I
ad.
get it because what I took from that scene is that she, after losing Craig, she's fully just beaten by this demon. Like she doesn't want to try and fight it. She just wants to pass it on to someone she doesn't give a fuck about or probably will ever see again in her life.
right? And it definitely would buy her time because clearly she's going out there and having sex with them. Like it's gonna eventually get them, but she'll buy her a little time. This scene, I just remember first scene, I was like, "What the hell just happened? Like, that really just happened?" And same pointing at like thinking of the point of view of those guys, they're just like, "Oh, cool! Like this girl just swam. Like that doesn't seem
Yeah.
weird at all."
Yeah, no.
You're just like, "Oh, what a good day!" So, some random girl just swims out to your boat and is like, "Please have sex with me," and you're
That's
like,
not a
"Yes, let's
are
go."
are you
Anyone
okay?
with a good moral compass would have like called the cops or called some
Yeah.
kind of help for that girl.
That's what I mean. Like that scene was just so weird to me.
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't understand. Like, did she definitely go through with this? What just happened? Like they were just like, oh, cool. Like my dream just answered. Some random girl just swam out to me to have sex with me. Like it's very
Because
odd.
it's not
Oh
like
man.
they met on the lake, and it's not like it's someone that she knew or they were partying or drinking or anything. Like, no, bro, she swam what looked like 500 yards out to the
At
boat where they were
least.
fishing. Like, if someone did that, dude, I'm not letting you get on the boat.
Right?
At that point, I'm scared for my life. Like, you coming on? You gonna kill me?
It's so bizarre. So anyway, they basically cut where Paul is talking to Jay, and he's basically like they said, he's like, I want to help too. Like, let me help. And like, and she's kind of just like, no. And he's like, he looks at her dresser, and he's looking at these pictures, and he sees her. There's a picture of Jay in a pool, and he kind of like, hey, like, remember like the first time, like, remember where it was when like we first kissed or something? She goes, yeah, of course. And he's like, do you trust me? And she's like, yep. So all of a sudden you see all the friends and everything piling everything into a car and they are off. And as they're driving away, Jay
What do
looks
we
back
see? What do we
at
see?
Jay looks back at the house and there is a naked guy on the roof. Super creepy, just staring out. We're like, what the hell? And anyway, you see them all grabbing their stuff. They have like all bags and everything, and you see them walking towards it. It's like in a giant abandoned building, this fence around it, and which we find out is the pool. We see them getting into that room, and it's a giant pool. There's no one in this building, and they have like tons of extension cords, lamps, like the bug zapper lights, like TVs. Once again, that look like they're like 20 years old. Typewriters, like what is a typewriter? Hair dryers. They're just setting up
Yeah.
this like they're wiring
Yeah.
all this stuff all around
You know what that is? Is that's a
the
college
pool.
pool, and
Absolutely crazy.
they went up to someone's dorm room and cleaned it out.
Yeah. The craziest shit. You're like, what the hell are these planning? They got some like Scooby Doo plan. And
Yeah.
then just to make the atmosphere even crazier, at this point, you cut to outside and you see it is a crazy storm. There is lightning, thunder. It is pouring rain. So the atmosphere even kicks it up another notch. And then as you see Jay, she goes into the pool. So Jay is in the middle of the pool. They're all set up with all this weird stuff around it. Very, very crazy, weird scene.
In my opinion, way too far spaced out. Like if
Right?
you get
Like,
that thing in the pool, what are you gonna throw in one lamp at a time?
oh,
Yeah. Take that.
it looks like an apps. Let's just be honest. It looks like the worst plan ever. And they're just kind
Yes.
of thinking like, how long do you think it'll be here? And she's like, oh, it's gonna be here. So she's in the pool right now. Really cool atmosphere. You see like under, and then all of a sudden it gets so creepy. You just hear it. She's like, oh my god, like it's here, and she's pointing. And they're like, what is it doing? She's like, it's just staring at me. And she's like, what? They're like, what does it look like? And she starts freaking out. She's like, I don't want to be in here. She's like, I want to get out. I want to get out. And they're like, what does it look like? She's like, I don't want to tell you. I don't want to tell you. Which
Did
clearly
you
made me
notice
think it.
it that scene had me so disheveled the entire time because she's pointing at it, she's screaming, she doesn't want to tell you what it looks like, and you can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, you can't
Like we've
see
been able
anything.
to see it with her this whole movie, but leading up to this point, I'm staring at all the other characters as they're talking, and I'm
Maybe it
going,
was her
Right?
"Where
dad.
is it? Is it one of them? What the fuck's going on?"
Yeah, so clearly it makes you think that it's her dad. She doesn't want to get her sisters upset. And their plan starts going bad right away. All of a sudden, this thing starts throwing shit at her. Like, that picks up a TV and starts throwing it at her. So clearly, thank God the plan didn't work, because she would have been like electrocuted right there. So thank God, like, the plan wasn't even going to work
Yeah.
anyway. So you're like, what is even happening in this? And Paul's got the gun at this point. So like, he starts shooting. He shoots across, misses everything, and hits like Yara in like the leg or something. So this is not going good at all. And this thing is throwing the hair dryer at her. Pretty sure like she takes a headshot from this thing, and they're like, "Where is it? Where is it?" And Kelly, I'm pretty sure it was Kelly, runs and grabs like a blanket and
Yeah.
throws a blanket over this thing's head, so you
Good
see like
idea.
the outline of the ghost, or whatever you want to call this thing. And then Paul runs up to the blanket and he shoots the thing right in the head. Thing falls in the pool, and you see Jay like, holy crap, like, I'm getting out of here. So she starts swimming to get out, and all of a sudden you see her go down, and you see in the water this thing is grabbing her leg, and it's a really cool scene because you see once again like Paul shooting, which is so dangerous. He's already shot Yara. You see like the bullet just go right like over
Right
Jay's
next.
head, and it misses everyone once again. So he shoots again, and he ends up shooting the swimming demon, and Jay gets out of the pool, and they're looking to see if this thing's gonna jump out or not or whatever. And you get a really cool scene of just like her
Dude,
looking at the whole
that
blood
pool.
just
Oh my
filling up
gosh.
with like that whole
The
entire pool is
blood.
just filling up with blood, which is just wicked crazy looking. And then we base so before I even move on, like, what do you got like this scene, guys? Like, anyone else want to talk about this for a second?
That scene was nuts. Just like even going into that with that plan and nothing going right, and then something actually going right.
Bro,
Right?
the
Like, what a
amount of swimming this girl does with that cast on, just so willing. There's no way that cast just does not smell disgusting.
I love it.
Oh,
Any thoughts? Yeah, we got to talk about her cast.
yeah,
Like,
bro, the pool scene. Oh my god, dude. Just chef's kiss. You know,
oh
the everything they throw into the pool, the way it was executed, and like now that you guys told me about that dream thing, like that's all I can think
yeah,
about. Like this building looks abandoned. It's surrounded. The
right.
lawn's
It
not mowed. It's clearly been unkempt for years. Leading into it, like they have to break through doors. There's
Yep.
graffiti everywhere. There's trash. Then you get to this pool and it's pristine.
It's perfectly clean.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Dude,
pristine. It looks like it belongs in like an Ivy League college.
right?
Like
That's what I mean.
it
Once
is
again, something it made no
mint.
sense. It's unsettled. You see that, you're like, what the heck? And another thing,
Yeah.
like, so like they've literally even asked the director, they're like, what was up with the kid's plan? They're like, that was the stupidest thing I've ever seen in movies. Like, and he said, oh my god, yeah, of course. He said the plan was horrible. He goes out, and
Yeah.
like the director said, that was a
That's the
terrible
point.
plan ever. He said, it's the
Yeah.
kids, for the love of God. It's like a Scooby Doo plan. He goes, like, they're just teenagers. Like, they clearly like thought this up. Like, we didn't say it had to work. Like,
Yeah.
so I even thought
And
that
it
was cool.
it makes so much sense for being part from the kids
Yeah.
because in your dream you do some stupid ass shit and
Right.
any dream I've ever had where I try to execute a plan, I wake up and like if I can remember it 9 times out of 10 I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking?
And like another thing, like they said, like there's not a ton of backstory of this demon. Like, basically know it's getting passed on. No one knows how to kill. Like, there's nothing told.
Yeah,
Like, we don't have the whole mythology of some of these other things. Like, oh, they're this.
yeah.
You just need to like
We didn't
whatever.
find
Like,
some kind of incantation book that tells you about the demon, where it came from, its purpose, what
right?
it's
They
No,
after. You
no
don't get
one
a
knows.
backstory of
we
some
only,
girl that got drowned in a well that watches you through the TV and tells you that you're gonna
we
die
only
in
got
Right,
7
what he
days.
said.
Yeah, we don't
dude.
get some crossroads demon, like nothing, dude. We
All
all
the
we
info
get
is
is
just
pass it on.
all the info is just passed on from the guy who already had like. And so who knows? That's just his explanation of it. You
Yeah,
don't
it's
even know
like
if
a
it's
game of
right or whatever.
telephone.
So
Who
no one
knows?
has
Yeah.
any clue.
Yeah.
So that's
God
why this
forbid, dude,
plan,
we could trace this back to like the 1600s when we
Yeah.
were,
right?
kidnapping people and selling them into slave ships, and someone put a fucking hex or a curse on,
Right?
some guy, and it was like,
Hey.
you raped me, so this is now your curse. You have to
Mm-hmm.
rape other women to pass it on. There's so
Yeah.
many different,
Yeah.
just
Right.
oh,
And
you
we'll all right, so
imagine it. Yeah.
we'll even talk more about this in a second. There's only like a few scenes left, so I guess we'll just run through the rest of this movie real fast. So yeah, after the crazy pool scene, we cut to Jay and Paul, and they are both having
Let's get it
sex.
on.
Yeah, let's get on. So they are finally doing that. And afterwards, you kind of just see them. They're like, "You feel any different?" And they're like, "No." You feel any different? And then we get a quick scene of Paul, and he's driving past like a part of Detroit, and you see him driving past hookers. It kind of just, I just got that at first. He's at least thinking in his head, like, does he pass it on? So you at least have the thought, like he's kind of realizing, like, oh my god, like what do I do? So you know the thoughts there. And then the last scene, you see Paul and Jay holding hands, walking down the sidewalk, and of course, I don't know, there's
There's
something
something there.
behind
Yeah,
them,
There's
yeah.
who
slowly
knows,
walking
dude.
towards them. I thought that was such a
And
good, and
they
then the
and they don't
movie
even
ends.
answer it. There, that
No,
question has
they
been
just keep going.
searched
It just that's
up,
the thing. You don't like
and the
it just
director will
ends.
not say anything. He
And
doesn't say if it's a
Because
person
it just
walking
looks like
or
a neighborhood kid.
yeah.
and they do that a lot too. So a lot of these different scenes with all the kids, there was always people in the background, so you couldn't tell. Like, are they? Is that the demon walking towards them?
Yeah.
Like a few shots in the scene. I mean, in the school scenes and everything, there was stuff like that. There's always a bunch of different people walking towards them. But before we get into any further breakdown, Sean, what do you rank this movie? What are you thinking?
Before I rank it, I want to put down when they have sex. I put down now that she's passed it on again to her friend. It looks like they both have what I call post nut regret, which uh and then I wrote like I love the fact that it's got no happy ending. Uh when I had watched this and I wrote down my rating after I had watched it, I put a 6 point. This is exactly what I wrote down. I go
Yep.
6.5 out of 10. If the pacing was a smidge faster, I think I'd like it a lot more. I'm not a big fan of slow pacing. If you take away the pacing, I would have given it an 8.5 for originality. But with the slow pacing and the fact that I feel like I can't rewatch this right away, I'm going with the 6.5. But after talking about it with you guys and breaking it down and looking at it through a different lens and not the STD lens, like I told you guys, like I'm one of those
Yeah.
people that watched it and like now I want to go back and watch it and I'm gonna give it the 8.5. I'm not
Yeah.
giving it the 6.5. I'm going 8.5
Yep.
because now I'm excited
Let's
and I want
go.
to go back and watch it and I
Hell
want to
yeah.
look at these different theories and I want to watch it from different angles.
Yes.
Oh,
I
yes,
strongly recommend that.
8.5. I'm
Love
going
that.
8.5.
Waterboy, what do you got?
I'm gonna give this a 9. I love this movie when it first came out. I love the music about it. I love the originality. I everything about this movie was just perfectly executed. Just all the choices that he picked and everything. Just I gave it a 9 out of 10. I love
Awesome.
this movie. And Smile, if you think about that, that Smile got basically some of its stuff from
You
this
mean
movie.
it smiles?
It Smiles,
Yeah.
yes.
Isn't that what
and
Justin called it?
I love this movie so
I
much
did.
more
I
than
did not like
Smile.
Smile at all. Smile is awful.
And crazy fact is that this movie only had a 1.3 million budget and it made 23 million. And then Smile went up to make like $220 million. I mean, I
Right?
know for the different times,
And
but
marketing, all
this,
marketing.
yeah, marketing too. They really
Yeah.
marketed that Smile, and this movie deserves all that over
Yeah.
Smile, 100%.
And so my rating, I give it a 9 out of 10 as well. But and it's weird too. Like Sean talked about the pacing. Even when I see this movie, it feels like something I should not normally like. I don't love slow moving movies. And I don't know, but like the atmosphere, I got sucked in. And some people don't like this movie. And sometimes, like when you love a movie and someone's like, I don't like that, a lot of times you'll be like, everything's subjective. But there are sometimes you're like, how? Like, I don't understand how you can't like this movie. Like this movie, I understand if you can't like. But say there is a movie that you're like, I don't get why someone couldn't like it. This movie, I even
Scream.
understand if you don't like it because I guess if you don't get sucked into like if you just don't fall in love with the atmospheric and like the music, I almost can get why you didn't like this movie. And it is confusing too, because I mean, there's like the weird fisherman scene. What did she do? Did she not do that? Is there an answer? Like, there's some weird stuff. Some people got angry, like, oh my god, the thing's always walking towards you, but this guy was just chilling on the roof. Why was it chilling on the roof? I thought it was supposed to be following you. Like, there's a lot. Like, I get if you don't like this movie, but I completely did get sucked in. And like I said, it almost feels like a movie I shouldn't have loved as much, just compared to my other movies. Like, I just want like crazy slashes and shit. But I don't know. I fell in love with. I love atmospheric horror as well, and I think this atmosphere is unbelievable. So I do give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm gonna read you my closing thoughts, and it does
Yeah,
have something to do with the pacing. But like I said, after we had talked about it, like it changes my perspective. What I originally wrote down is liked it, I didn't love it. For a movie that kept me on edge, I hated the pacing. I love the fact that you really can't tell what year this takes place in or how long this has been going on. Nothing matches up in the timeline, and I love it. 70s feel, 90s style, 2010s tech, and so many things in between. They go swimming, but it's cold enough to be fully dressed. They go to a lake or a beach, but the trees are bare and the leaves are on the ground. I don't know. I just love how nothing and everything at the same time makes perfect sense. I also just hated how slow everything moved, but that's the only gripe I have with the movie was just
Yep.
the pacing.
And
But
let me talk about this again. Oh, sorry. I think this is really good to put into input too, especially since you like I said, when I first watched this movie, I read so much shit. I read the actual script. I read a lot of stuff from the director's point of view. And in a lot of movies, like people always doing exciting stuff. Like you don't ever see characters mope around. And I don't know if you noticed in this movie with the pacing, dude, the characters, like when they first meet the friends, they're all just sitting. They're not doing exciting stuff. They're sitting, just watching TV.
yeah, they're like
Yara's
and
sitting
farting.
there, dude. Yeah,
yeah.
and farting. And then the other part, they're just sitting around playing old maid. There's not like crazy fun dialogue. Then they on the beach, they're just sitting around. Like a lot of movies, you don't see the people they're doing stuff. This movie just shows you moping around,
Just
and
chilling.
that was another thing to show. If you look at like just almost sitting around the inescapability of death, and there's a if you look at this movie through different point of views, it's really wild. Like how he did all this stuff on purpose to like he made that slow on purpose, but different points. So it's so deeper than just the STD thing. Like if you watch
Like
this the
Yeah.
second time and you
it's
just
just
look
a
at all
feeling of hopelessness, like the whole
that dude, he
time.
wanted the existential dread, the feeling of no matter how far away you get this, no matter what you do, like death is coming for you. Like,
He
does life
nailed it.
matter? Yeah, he wanted to be like, oh my god, like if you're doing all this stuff, does that matter? Like, death's still gonna get you. Like what's the point of this? You're just gonna be like that's why they don't even show like the parents' faces. You don't even see the parents' faces in the hospital. There's shot of like real old people. Like if you watch, there's a lot going on, and I get like this movie's definitely not for everyone. So even if someone told me like, oh hey, this movie sucks, I'd be like, yeah, I'm not even mad. I do get it because, but I don't know, it's really cool. So I strongly recommend that Sean watches it again.
If you could recommend this to someone, Waterboy, what's one thing you would tell them going into the movie?
Um, geez, put me on the spot there. What? Um, shit.
All right. Justin?
Oh man, I just hold on, give me one
Yeah.
second.
All right.
I he just made me laugh when I drank coffee in my nose.
You got nothing, Waterboy? Like if you were to
like
recommend like
if
how
I
to
if I were
watch it or
I would say
I
fully
don't even
immerse yourself. Sorry. I would just be like, dude, turn your phone off, just completely immerse yourself in this movie. And I'd be like, if you really love, like, get sucked into the atmosphere and just watch it with a super open mind. And especially, I'd recommend it to people that maybe, like, if someone told me they only love, like Saw type movies and that kind of extreme stuff, I'd be like, maybe don't watch It Follows. But if you love, like, Halloween 78. Like, if you love like movies that are like suspenseful and there's not like tons of shit going on, but at the same time there is a lot of shit going on, and I'd be like 100% watch It Follows.
the
yeah.
best thing I can say to someone that probably has my perspective going into this that loves fast paced Dawn of the Dead, that loves the intricacy of Saw, that loves the slasher feel of Halloween. You know what I mean? That loves, even the comedy killings from Scream or Freddy. This is the kind of movie that appeases to a certain type of crowd from the jump. But if you can slow down with the movie and, like Justin said, just fully immerse
That's
yourself
what I
into
mean.
this movie,
100%.
it's it's a game changer.
Yep.
You know what and that speaks volumes to people like me. Like I said, this movie was not for me. I was not as hyped up as you two to go in and rewatch this again and take notes. But after breaking it down with you guys, I want to go watch it again
Right.
and find the different angles and find the different perspectives and find the different theories. And even talking about it with you guys, I developed my own theory in my head with,
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
what it embodied at that point in time. And that's just fucking crazy.
And
I
Yeah.
loved
Because
it.
just even to think about it, like the year that this came out, 2015, like before that, all the horror movies that we've watched, I never really saw a movie that
No,
did
this
something
came
like
out.
this.
Yeah, this came out and took a massive swing and went in a completely different direction than everything we were getting at the
anything
time,
so
and it
different.
fucking knocked it out of the park.
Especially like if you look at the movies I picked for the podcast, I'm actually not gonna lie, I don't remember the last five, but most of the movies I've picked have probably been like fast paced slashers, like some comedy mixes
Yeah,
in it. This is like very different than if for me to pick this, like like there's something cooking with this movie.
Yeah.
And I want to just jump into my Halloween tie-in. This one was pretty obvious because literally, like I said, I've read tons of stuff from the director, so I actually have heard it straight from him. He's literally said that he was very inspired by John Carpenter. They even said that they named Jay short for Jamie Lee Curtis. And the girl, even in the first screen, when she runs out, like I said, it almost looks like Haddonfield. Like her name was Annie. They honored her by naming Annie Brackett. And there was even another scene, the classroom scene, was a play when Jamie Lee Curtis looked outside the window and saw Michael Myers. And this one, Jay looks out and sees like the woman walking towards her. So even that was a paying homage to Halloween.
You could
and
even toss in the station wagon.
Dude, that's what I mean. Like there was so much, and like just like it looked like just the whole look of it, the feel of it. So this one was a very easy layup of. And another fun fact: there was 11 different actors that played the entity or whatever you want to call that thing. The thing had 11 different people playing it, from anywhere from like
seamless.
That's the thing, from anywhere from like little kids to 7'7" guys. The guy was 7'7". That's wild.
That's crazy. And another thing, I mean, if you guys noticed, every time the monster was showing up or the demon, you'd always see red. There'd be red lights or a hint of red on the screen somewhere.
I didn't know that.
Dude, if you watch, I'm telling you, like there's stuff that I like. I'm so scatterbrained right now, I can't even fully explain because my ADD is really showing. But there was foreshadowing of red or pink every single time before it shows. There was something also about like weird circles in this movie. There's so much in this movie. It's absolutely insane.
I've never seen a movie like this that has so much.
Definitely not for everyone, but if you rewatch this and look at it from a few different point of views and stuff, wild. And honestly, I like how we filled in as we were going through scenes with so much of the fun facts and talk about it, because I covered all my notes and everything already going through it. So I don't really have anything else to say.
I've got nothing else.
I have to say is smash that like button. If you're new to the show, please subscribe. We are on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. Guys, any love you want to show the show, show it. That's a lot of shows in one sentence. So thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I did. It changed my mind. Hopefully it can change yours if you were dead set like me on just not giving this film a second chance. But after talking about it, guys, I want to go watch it again.
Hell yeah, dude.
And hell yeah. Hope everyone enjoyed this, and check us out next week where we're doing
next week we are going to be doing Jacob's Ladder from 1990 by Adrian Lynes. And it is available to stream for free. Well, not for free, but on Amazon Prime.
Cool.
Is this the remake or the original?
The original, 1990.
The original. All right. I haven't seen either one of them.
I don't know anything about it, but I hope this is an awesome like ladder you climb, and there's like a slasher, like they use a ladder as like I'm pretty excited. This sounds like a very fun movie. Yeah,
it's actually like a Super Mario movie where you're running from the slasher in there, and all you do is climb ladders.
Have to climb the thing.
Imagine that's the next horror movie that we do is the Super Mario movie that they released in 1990.
I love that movie. Shut up. It's so bad. It's good.
All right. Anyway, check us out.
I'm Hacky. That's Stabby. That's Wacky. Justin. Stabby / Wacky Hacky. Let's do this.
Have a good one. Peace out.
Hey, later, guys.
Adios.